Whether you're a big Harry Potter fan or not, Harry Potter's Dobby, the house elf, can teach us a wonderful lesson to help us become more successful in our lives. Dobby, the house elf from Harry Potter, he beats himself up every time he does something he's not supposed to do.
That was an awful thing to say. Bad Dobby!
Stop!
Bad
Dobby!
Dobby! Bad
Dobby!
Dobby!
We are actually doing something very similar, beating ourselves up every time we do something we think we're not supposed to do.
Are you all right?
Dobby had to punish himself, sir.
I'm going to teach you about my mental stick. I used to carry around a mental stick, and every time I would add something to my list of things that weren't right about me, I would beat myself up with this stick. And every time I forgot to do something, or I didn't do good enough of this, or someone didn't like something about me, or I didn't people please enough, I kept beating myself up with this stick. The crazy thing, I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. I just thought I was trying to be a better person. Often we buy in to the theory of that we need to be hard on ourselves, kind of like Dobby does. And we think that we need to beat up on ourselves to make us better. Imagine for a minute, instead of a mental stick of beating yourself up, what if the next time that you were in public, you actually grabbed a real stick and started hitting yourself every time you thought you messed up? Would people think that you're crazy? Would people stare? Well, I know this seems extreme, but it's actually just as bad to hit yourself up mentally as to hit yourself up physically. We talked about negativity. Did you know that there's actually a way to improve in life without being critical? What you actually have to do is you actually have to put down the stick. Why I work with my clients and I tell them about an actual stick, because it makes it a little bit easier to mentally try to put it down so that we stop hitting ourselves up with it. And in the beginning, I noticed that my clients, and when I first started doing it, I kept picking back up that stick and I kept hitting myself with it again. And the funny thing is, sometimes I would hit myself up with the stick because I picked up the stick again. It was really funny, but kind of sad. The truth is that what you focus on grows. Much like if I went and planted a tomato seed, I would get tomatoes. If I'm focusing on what is wrong and what is a failure in my life, I'm going to get what is wrong and what is a failure in my life, a whole plant of it, right? So if we want to grow something like corn, we need to plant corn seeds. If you focus on criticism, and that's what you do, you're going to find more things to be critical. If you want positive things in your life or success, you have to focus on positive things or success. Now, the good news for you is you don't have to start with the whole plant. You just need a little seed. You need to find one tiny little thing that you did right and focus on that. It doesn't have to be a big thing to begin with. Just a little seed of positivity, and it will grow. Now, what if we could change from being our biggest critic to being our biggest fan? How would you feel if you were your biggest fan? How would you talk to yourself if you put down your stick and instead of beating yourself up when something went wrong, what if you just said, "Good job for showing up. You really tried. You had a good intention." How much better would you feel? Do you feel a little bit relieved even thinking about it? Or are you too afraid to let down your stick? I give you permission to put down your stick. I encourage you just to give it a try. Put down your stick and practice planting a couple seeds of positivity. Let me tell you a crazy story that happened to me. So I'm a very analytical person. I'm always looking for little nuanced things that I do, and I used to put them all together and what's wrong with me, and I used to have just filing cabinets full in my mind of all the bad things that I had done and all the things I didn't do well enough, and just, it went on and on for miles. And I had a very well-worn stick that I would beat myself up with religiously. I was so righteous. You know that type of person. And the crazy thing, I tried to do self-help. I tried to become a better person, but because I had that stick constantly beating me up, I never got really better. And sometimes I even felt super worse. I just kept focusing on the bad and creating more bad and feeling worse. That stick was not doing any good. Finally, I found a life coach, which inspired me to become a life coach and help you. And the first thing he had me do was to learn to put down the stick. And at first, I didn't think I had a very big problem. I was like the alcoholic that knew he was not an alcoholic. And I was like, yeah, maybe have a few drinks. And pretty soon after watching my thoughts, I could see that I had a big problem. And I had to keep putting down that stick. And it wasn't just a once and done. I had to keep putting it down. And then the next thing I knew, I had it picked up and I was beating myself up. And then guess what? Sometimes I'd even beat myself up for having beat myself up because I wasn't supposed to beat myself up anymore. Now that is irony. I want to give you permission today and encourage you, start putting down that stick. And even if you pick it up a few times, just put it down again. And you will find yourself so much more productive, happy, positive, and just better all around. And P.S., you'll actually be nicer to people around you. I actually had a family member report to my husband that they didn't trust me because I was being too nice. And I didn't think I had changed my behavior at all. I just started being nice to me and less critical. And that showed as being nicer to other people and less critical to them. So that's like an added bonus. You'll be nicer to other people. You know, not that you need it. I didn't think I did. Now, if this message resonated with you, please subscribe. I would love to have you on this journey. I enjoy helping people put down the sticks so much, and I have a lot more wonderful things to teach you, and I'd love to have you.